Hello friends, we have learnt about the history of C language. Now in this video, we will see the basic structure to write a C program. Here we will learn the various sections, essential components to write a C program. The section which I will teach you there are not compulsory always. I mean you will be using them but not always in all your programs. So few of them are optional and few of them will be required in every program. I know it is getting a little complicated for a complete newbie, so just wait for a few seconds and I will make it easier for you. First section that I am gonna teach you here is the documentation section. Documentation section is somewhat a section where you write details about the program. We use it to write things like what this program do, who is the developer of the program, what functions we have taken here, and what are their uses. Like this, so many informations can be written here. Now we write the documentation section in comments. I think most of you are well aware of comments, but those who don't know about comments, we will cover this part after few videos. Just for now, consider comments are something which will only visible into your code and which is only visible to the human reading the code. The compiler which is compiling the code will simply skip the comment and your output will not contain anything related to the comment. So we write documentation in the comments, so documentation is only visible to us, and the purpose of writing documentation is to make it easy for other programmers to know what about your program is. So documentation section is optional. If you don't write documentation, then still your program will run, but a good programmer always write comments and documentation, and writing documentation would help you and other programmers. Suppose you have created an application which contains many programs, then it would be very difficult for you to recognize which program is related to which feature. So in case if any functionality is to be changed, you will be in a great difficulty. But if all your programs have documentation, then you just have to open the program and first line will tell you everything about the program. So that is why I said a good programmer always write documentation. Now the second section we have is the link section. The first one was documentation section and the second is link section. Link section is where we do all linking to other files. By saying other files, I mean library files. Now what is library files? Library files are predefined definitions of functions. That means if you are using commands to show something on screen, in C language we have printf, which we use to print some data on the screen. Now computer do not know about what is printf. We have to tell them what is the function of printf. So all these type of definitions are written in the libraries. Whenever we use printf in the program, the compiler will point toward the header file or the library file, which will tell the meaning of printf to the computer. So in the link section, we link our header files. The most common header file in the C language is the stdio.h, which stands for standard input output. So whenever we use predefined functions like printf, scanf, they are defined under stdio.h. So we have to link this header file with the program to use these predefined functions in the program. So to link a library, we always have to write like this #include, then you have to write stdio.h. Here #include is the preprocessor directive. We will learn in deep about it some other day. So hash include is used to link a library file with the program. These are there are other libraries files as well, like math.h. So you can simply write like this, copy the header file and paste here. Then we have math.h, or we have string.h. Okay, so this math.h file will be used when we have to perform some mathematical functions, and string.h will be used when we get to know about these strings in C. So we will learn about them later. So in the link section, we link header files with the program, and it is a compulsory section and you have to write it in all your programs. So the third section is the definition section. We call it definition section. In this section, we used to define some constant values which you will be using in your program. Now what does that mean? Suppose we want to use pi in the program and we know pi has a value of 3.14. So I will assign pi as the value 3.14, and then I can use it anywhere in my program. To define constants, you have to write like hash, then define, after that a space, then the constant name, then space, and the value that you want to assign to the constant. So through this way, pi will be assigned 3.14 as the value. The fourth section is the global declaration section. Before learning about this, we must know about the concept of variables. Okay, so variables are something whose value varies. For example, a variable A variable has a value 10, but after some operation its value becomes 20. So you can vary the value in a variable. We have two types of variables, local variables and global variables. Both the topics are deeply covered later. Here I will just give you brief introduction. So global variables are used globally in any part of the program, but local variables can only be used where it is declared. So in this section of global declaration section, we declare global variables, and also we can initialize them with some values. I will show you later how to do that. Now the fifth section is the main section. Okay, it is the compulsory section and every program must have this section. So for a main section, we write it like this: main, then parenthesis, and after that curly brackets. So the first curly bracket you see is the place where your code execution starts, and the last where the code execution will end. So this is the compulsory to use main section, because without this you will not have any other place to write the statements. Okay, in this main here there are two sections. Let me cut this from here and paste the part here. Okay, now in this we have two section and we call it declaration section and executable section. So first we have declaration section here, and after that we have executable section. Okay, in the declaration section you can declare local variables and local functions, and here you must note that local variables and local functions which are declared here can only be used in the main section. So in the executable section here, in the executable section of main function, you will write all the statements and each statement will end with a semicolon, and depending upon statements you can send flow of control to other parts of the program. We will see about it later. And the last section is function definition section. So after this we have function definition section. In C language, you can write your own functions as well. So in this section, you can write about the functions. This section and the previous section, that was the main section, both can be swapped. That means you can write function definition first and then main section, and its converse is also valid. As main is also a function, we will learn about functions some other day. Here at this point you must know that user defined functions are some like main function. They also have declaration section and executable section inside the function definition. The variable that you declare inside an user defined function will only be used in that function. That means you cannot use variable of a user defined function in the main function, and also you cannot use variable of main function inside an user defined function. Here we can use the global variables that you have declared at this section. So whatever variables you have declared here can also be used in the main function as well as in the function on or any other function. So global variables are accessible inside the main as well as inside the user defined functions. Function definition section here is the optional section, and it totally dependent upon you whether you need user defined functions or not in a program. So these were the basic sections of a C program, and I think we should end the class here. Rest of the things I will cover in the next video class. Thank you.